Hello everyone. Today we uncover one of the most terrifyingly effective systems of state control ever devised in ancient civilization, the Qin dynasty's household registration and migration restriction system. This is not a vague set of rules. It is a hyper-precise, legally enforced machinery that turned a scattered population into a fully governed, fully mobilized resource for the first unified empire in Chinese history. Every man, woman, and child within Qin's borders existed not as a free individual, but as a numbered, registered, and controllable unit, all tied to a single unbreakable system that defined life, labor, loyalty, and punishment. To understand the Qin Empire is to understand this invisible cage, how it was built, how it worked, and how it turned chaos into absolute control. Long before Qin Shi Huang declared himself the first emperor, the foundation of this system was laid by Shang's radical reforms in the mid-4th century BCE. Before these reforms, ancient Chinese states relied on loose, clan-based records and occasional population counts, with little real control over where people lived or how they moved. Shang changed everything. He abolished the old clan structure and imposed Huji, the household registration system, which mandated that every single person be listed in official government registers. As clearly stated in the Book of Lord Shang, within the 4 borders, all men and women must be recorded on the official rolls. Those who live are registered, those who die are removed. This was not a casual census. It was a permanent, lifelong, intergenerational record that followed every family from birth to death. Let us break down exactly what was recorded in a Qin household register, using evidence from Shui Hudi, Qin, bamboo slips, and Lai Qin slips, the primary legal and administrative documents of the Qin. Every register began with the head of household full name, noble, rank, height, occupation, and native district. Next came every family member, wife, sons, daughters, their exact ages, marital status, and physical condition, including disabilities or chronic illnesses that might affect labor or military service. The register did not stop at people. It listed every piece of property, the exact structure of the house, usually 1 main hall, and 2 inner rooms, number of servants, land acreage, livestock, and even tools. This level of detail was not bureaucratic overreach. It was a deliberate calculation. The state needed to know exactly how many fighting age men it could draft, how many laborers it could send for public works, how much grain it could tax, and how much wealth each household held. Nothing was hidden, nothing was unrecorded, nothing was beyond the state's gaze. Registration was not a one-time event. The Qin enforced an annual autumn verification, where local officials went door to door to cross-check every entry on the register. Newborns had to be registered within 30 days. Failure to do so resulted in 3 days of forced labor for the family. Anyone who concealed a household member, falsified age, or hid property faced severe punishment: fines of bronze armor, forced labor as a government slave, or even exile. The officials who failed to detect fraud were punished equally, creating a system of mutual accountability that left no room for error. This annual check ensured the register was always up to date, turning the entire population into a living, breathing database for the imperial state. If household registration was the cage, the migration ban was the lock that kept everyone inside. The Qin completely outlawed unapproved movement. Under the You Shi Live law for wandering elites, anyone traveling without an official permit, called a fu or chuan, was fined 1 suit of armor. Inn owners who sheltered travelers without valid documents faced the same punishment as the traveler, creating a society where no one could hide a person on the run. Gates, passes, and border checkpoints all examined. These permits, which listed the traveler's name, household registration, destination, and purpose of travel. There were only a handful of legally approved reasons to move: official government duty, military service, or approved relocation to farm new land. Any other movement was classified as lan wang, illegal migration, a criminal offense that often led to hard labor or exile to remote regions like Shu, modern-day Sichuan. To enforce this control, the Qin paired the household registration system with the Shi Wu Lianzuo system, the collective punishment system. 5 households formed a Wu, 10 households formed a Shi. Every member of the group was responsible for each other's actions. If one person in the group fled, hid a fugitive, or broke migration laws, every member of the Wu or Shi was punished equally. This created a society where neighbors policed neighbors, families policed family members, and no one dared help someone move without approval. As the Book of Lord Shang warned, there is no escape from military service, no way to enter a new place without permission. The state did not need a huge police force. It turned the entire population into its own enforcers. Why did the Qin build such a ruthless system? The answer is pure power and survival. The Warring States period was an era of constant warfare. States rose and fell based on manpower, grain, and loyalty. A mobile population was a dangerous population. People could flee taxes, avoid military service, join enemy states, or rebel against authority. The Qin's registration and migration system solved all these problems at once. It guaranteed a steady supply of soldiers for its armies, laborers for the Great Wall, canals, and palaces, and tax revenue to fund endless campaigns. It broke the power of local clans and transferred full loyalty to the central government. When Qin Shi Huang unified China in 221 BCE, he did not just conquer territory. He imposed this system on every newly conquered region, turning 6 rival states into one controlled empire. This system was so effective that it outlived the Qin dynasty itself. The Han dynasty, which replaced the Qin, kept the core of the Huji system and migration controls, and every subsequent Chinese dynasty adapted and refined it for the next 2,000 years. What began as a tool for warring states' survival became the backbone of Chinese imperial governance. It is a stark example of how a state can use administrative precision and legal terror to reshape an entire society. The Qin did not just rule people. They owned their names, their labor, their movement, and their lives, all through a system written on bamboo slips and enforced by iron law. When we look at the ruins of the Qin Empire, we often focus on the terracotta army, the Great Wall, or the grand palaces. But the true foundation of Qin's power was not stone or bronze. It was a piece of bamboo, with a name, an age, and a household listed on it. It was the quiet, unyielding control that meant no one could be born, live or die, without the state's knowledge. It was a system so perfect in its cruelty that it built an empire, and so unforgiving that it helped destroy it as the weight of endless control and punishment fueled the rebellions that ended Qin rule. Even so, its legacy lived on, a silent reminder of how far a state will go to hold power over its people. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient China, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more epic history. See you next time.